So Rich stays in Glasgow and lead one strong startup called Gigged AI. And Gigged AI is like, can I call it like Upwork or something like
Yeah,
that?
you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the some of the unique things that that's only one for Scotland. I mean, I think for the whole UK, I think so. Where
Yep.
people, it's like open talent stuff. See, this book is here. I have the open talent book actually. So, and one of the things that Rich have done is to create that platform where employers can actually submit, advertise about their work, and also employee can also get it. And Gig Day I was shocked. Wasn't it last year? I found that people do get job on Gig AI from Africa, all around
Yep.
the world. I
Yep.
was shocked when I saw that. So what actually prompted today's talk was that when I saw your post that what they're coming from is saying that the AI is going to, is going to collapse some job. People are going to lose job, and also they are going to bring new type of job. So at Creed, the Creed is just the church-based empowerment unit where we normally talk about entrepreneurship and employability and reskilling. So, and I took stock my people that we need to come and learn from Rich to know the AI, the skills people need to acquire in the days of AI, since there's going to be a gap, and also what are the job that AI is going to create. So, and they say, oh, they'll be happy to come to hear from you. And I want to thank you for granting this, even though today is weekend, all of that.
That's
So,
okay. It's all good.
yes, yeah, Rich, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Franklin. And thank you everybody for joining on a Saturday afternoon. So, as Franklin said, I'm Rich Wilson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Gig AI. I've been in tech for nearly 20 years. I started in recruitment, so I used to work for a large recruitment company, and then I worked for a company called Gartner for 3 years, advising CIOs on technology and implementation. So, and I also spent, some of you guys may be aware of the Data Lab. They do a lot of good work up in Aberdeen. So I also was a skills advisor with the Data Lab for 3 years, helping their PhD and Master AI students find work, being able to give them the skills that they need, as well as the technical skills, give them the more softer skills they needed to find meaningful work. Because part of the Data Lab's mission was to create more AI skills in Scotland, and then try and keep those skills in Scotland. Um, so I'm very passionate about AI, talent, recruitment, hiring, all of those things. So I'm kind of going to break this into three sections. I'm not precious, so if anybody does have a question at any point, either put your hand up in the chat or just ask me. So this doesn't need to be we don't need to be too precious. So if anybody has any questions, I will leave time at the end for questions. But if anybody does have any questions, then please jump in. So where I'm going to begin is so on Tuesday next week, we are releasing our latest report, um, and that is called the AI Talent Crisis. So I'm going to share some of the data from that report as a starting point. It's because I think it's really interesting about how hiring managers and hiring companies are thinking. This is all UK data, and it's hot off the press. So again, nobody's seen this yet. I've not even practiced this yet, so this is the first time. So I'll be rolling this out all over the UK over the next couple of weeks, starting in Glasgow on Wednesday night. If in Glasgow on Wednesday, you're very welcome to join. I'm then going to dig into some of the World Economic Forum report that came out 2 weeks ago, and then I'm going to give some recommendations. And as I said, any questions at any point, please just jump in. I'm going to assume a general understanding of AI, but I'm not going to like assume anybody's a data scientist or really knows the ins or outs. I certainly don't. So let me jump into what we were trying to do with this research. generative AI is obviously part of AI, right? So there's a big view that generative AI and AI is all the same thing. They are very different, right? And over the last 2 years, generative AI has become the main part of AI that people speak about. But the AI is a much bigger topic. But we're going to focus on Gen AI. So what we wanted to do was really look at what is happening in UK businesses right now. Not like what's happening in the world, not what's happening 2 years ago, what is happening now. And what we wanted to know was like, how is Gen AI actually impacting work? How are companies then knowing what skills they've got? How are they then using that to fill skill gaps? And then how are they going about finding new talent? Because the Gen AI skills that people are hiring for right now don't actually, nobody has 10 years Gen AI experience. Nobody has, 5 years of prompt experience with OpenAI. It doesn't exist. So we're at a really interesting point. So we were really interested to know how are companies in the UK thinking about this. I won't bore you too much with the detail, but we went to 300 tech leaders in the UK, mainly within technology companies, finance, and manufacturing. And there were senior leaders in those organizations. So we really were really interested in Snapshot. And we work with a third party called Sapio. So none of this is biased towards gig AI. This is all what companies are thinking now, and it's anonymous. Um, so we can say that the data is pretty strong. So if we think about where are we at now, so just over half of companies say that they're facing a skills gap. And they're saying that AI and machine learning is the number one skill gap that they have. Now, what does a skill gap mean? That really means that they don't have or they don't think they have that skill within their organization. And that is what we're seeing across most organizations at the moment. So more than half say we do not have enough AI and machine learning people in our organization to be able to do what we need to do. And I'm going to kind of flip this in about 5 minutes or so. So we look at what are the top skills in demand per industry. And if we think about in energy, obviously, you guys are in Aberdeen. Gen AI is impacting the energy companies massively. And the demand for data and analytics, machine learning, and software development is through the roof. And that is very similar within finance and technology. But interestingly, the energy companies are the ones that are actually have the biggest skill gaps within um, within data and analytics. Partially, this is due to underinvestment. Partially, it's due to location, and also partially due to a lot of the hiring practices have been quite old school. Not all of them, but a lot of it has been quite old school. So they're finding themselves now with a skill gap. Whereas a bank, absolutely, but they've been a bit more forward thinking. And again, we think where if we just take all of the industries and put them together, the number one skill gap is AI and machine learning, and just behind that, cybersecurity and data and analytics. So, really, really interesting to see how much the organizations are struggling with this at the moment. And also, it's not going to get better. There is no way that this gets better quickly. You may have seen that the UK government launched their AI opportunities plan. Now, if that plan is successful, I'm not going to get into whether that will be successful or not, but if it is successful, that is just going to make the skill gaps even worse. And with the rise in national insurance and the issues around um, tax rules, it just doesn't get better, right? So there is a huge opportunity right now if you have technical skills, or you have a skill that has been impacted negatively, to start thinking, how can I reskill? How can I upskill? What can I do to create a huge opportunity for myself as the opportunities here increase and increase and increase? So again, looking at how companies are dealing with it, 48% are anticipating that they're using generative AI in 2025. That can either be ghost IT, shadow IT, means that people are using it anyway in their phones, or they're using it with permission on the company. But it's getting used, and it's only going to continue. As I said, IBM study recently was that 40% of the workforce need to reskill, which is scary when you think about it, that nearly 40% of people right now do not have the skills that are going to be needed over the next couple of years. Again, scary, but also an opportunity. And then 92% of businesses are upskilling with generative AI. I'm not sure I think that's an interesting one. I think that is, I'm not sure how true that is. Um, I think people are upskilling themselves. I don't know if 92% of companies are actually doing it, but they say they're doing it, right? And I think saying and doing are two different things, but there is a huge movement around being able to upskill people. And businesses believe that using Gen AI more, they can save at least 4 hours a week. Again, I actually think that's on the kind of low side. Myself personally, sorry, I muted myself for some reason. So, I found that I've saved at least 20 hours a week with the general. Before I move on, does anybody have any questions around any of that, any of those data points or anything that I mentioned?
Yes, Rich. So please, if you have any question, can we put it in the chat box? All of that. So I
Yeah,
will take
sure.
you on one of the things you've said. So if you said you believe that people are already upskilling themselves, so how can people start to upskill themselves?
I'll come to that. So it's a great question. I'm going to come to that in a few points in terms of how they can do it. But it's a great question, and let me kind of come to that head on in a second. So if I then look at, I'm going to flip this in its side. So that was data from UK companies and how they are thinking about the skill gaps they have in generative AI. Now I'm going to really focus on the report that came out from the World Economic Forum. And this is the impact it's going to have on jobs and people, right? So not how companies are going to hire, but really the impact it's going to have. And this is where, again, it gets quite scary, but it also gets quite opportunistic as well. And again, if you can Google this report, I can send a link to it, but it's called the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report, and it went out 2 weeks ago. So there's a lot of data in the report, it's huge, but I'm going to focus on kind of 3 core areas. So these are the fastest growing and declining jobs that the World Economic Forum expect by 2030. And part of this, I'll come back to answering Franklin's question about how can you reskill, because what this tells you is that there is a huge opportunity for upskilling. Out of the 15 top skills growing in demand, 11 out of those 15 are in tech. And the top 2 out of the top 3 are data related. So big data specialists and AI and machine learning specialists. Machine learning is just a key part. Generative AI is just part of machine learning. So if you hear machine learning and generative AI, they're very, very similar. not identical, but very, very similar. So that's, they're using the same term there. But if you look at the skills which are declining, post office clerks, bank tellers, data entry, cashiers, ticket clerks, admin assistants, you know, accountant, legal assistants, legal secretaries. You're still going to need accountants. You're still going to need lawyers. You're still going to need a lot of people. However, the generative AI tools are going to see a lot of those jobs declining. I said not disappear, but decline in demand. And if you're in a job that's declining in demand, it's definitely a time to be looking at, well, what can I be doing about that? How do I get in front of that? Because I said it's not all doom and gloom. There's going to be more jobs created over the next 5 years because of all of the technology evolution at the moment. It's not going to be that we're going to all be replaced and we're not going to need humans. It's actually going to be the opposite. So, step forward again. This is from the report, and it said, here's the top core skills that you need in 2025 if you're going to be successful. This isn't about data. This is just core skills. I think there's some really interesting parts here. Analytical thinking is the number one core skill needed. Resilience. Technology can't be resilient one way or another, right? It's just technology. Generative AI is just lines of code at the end of the day. So, and then creative thinking, your motivation, curiosity, lifelong learning. These some would say these are soft skills. I don't really like the term soft skills, but these skills are going to be unbelievably important as we move forward. And there's different books, there's different courses, but I thought this was a really interesting data point when you think about, as much as new AI models can be really clever, they cannot be a human in terms of all of the different aspects you can bring to it. And there are certain things that it can do well, but the whole package will never ever be more effective than the human. And then we think about the top 10 fastest growing skills, and again, no shock here. AI and big data is number one. So a lot of the skills you mentioned there in 2025, creative thinking still important. But the top three skills in 5 years are going to be what I would call hard skills: AI and big data, networks and cybersecurity, and technological literacy. And I think technological literacy arguably is the most important skill of it all, because that really means that you can talk technology, you can understand technology, and you can be able to talk from a business perspective. Over the last 20 years for me, I can't code. I wouldn't know where to start. I am not a technologist, but what I am very good at is technological literacy. I've always understood technology. I've understood the business, and I've been able to always talk to business leaders about technology. I can't do any of it, but I can understand how it's used and how it's applied to business and how they're going to get there and the issues they're going to have to get there. And again, that is, you know, what we're not saying here is that everybody needs to go and become an AI engineer and everybody needs to go and become a data engineer. But by able to understand the technology and understand how it works, even if you can't work it yourself, that is going to be a huge plus point moving forward, and more important than ever. One of the, starting to answer Franklin's question, one of the best books I've read, I'm going to forget its name, is by a guy called Ethan Mollick, and I'll put it in the link when we finish. But one of the things that I've done over the last 12 months to upskill myself has been I've read his papers, I've read his books, and I listen to his podcast every day. And by that, I have been able to really understand generative AI. I've been able to understand what it's good at and what it's not good at. And I've also been able to be able to talk at a relatively high level around the topic. I said, I am not a generative AI expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I understand the technology. I have implemented it into my daily life and my work life and personal life, and I've been able to be useful. But that was only because I went and tried to learn. And then this is a really interesting one. I thought I'd put this back in. This is from our data, but there's going to be a massive rise in the demand for consultants, contractors, and freelancers as we see this. So all of these skills that we've been talking around, there is going to be a huge demand for those short-term skills. And this is something just to keep in your back pocket. You don't need to reskill or be applying for lots of permanent jobs. There is going to be a huge increase in the demand for freelance and contingent talent over the next 5 years. And it's something to think about because if you don't like working in an organization, but for a long time and you like multiple projects and you like variation, then actually freelance is a really good place to start and it's a really good place to earn a good career. Obviously, job security is the downside, but if you're good at what you do, you'll always find work. So I just thought I'd put this in there because I think it's really, really interesting. Um, and then just to kind of round off, and as I said, I'll leave plenty of time for questions. But these are the kind of the top three things that you know you could be doing now, and I would be doing now if I was well, I have done these things, right? So the first thing is developing strong analytical and problem solving skills. You whether that be so the data lab offer free courses around developing the analytical and problem solving skills. They're called MOOCs. They were created by a guy called Craig Patterson. But that is all available. And then there's lots of free courses out there that you can do, but really figuring out how can you learn more about statistics, data visualization, and machine learning. And again, it doesn't need to be how to do it. Right? It doesn't need to be that you learn to code, but you understand how the technology works and you can understand how you make decisions from that data. Yeah, so again, this is going to be so important as we're working with you have 2 years time. Everybody in a job right now will have a generative AI assistant as part of their job or an AI agent. That AI agent will do a lot of the administration of your job. It'll do a lot of the menial stuff that you don't want to do, but that is going to give you more time to do more analytical and problem solving thinking and that is one of the big changes we are going to see. The AI agentic it's called or AI agent technology is there, it exists, and it is only going to get better. The AI is at the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better, and it will soon be in all of our lives, whether we like it or not. And especially within our jobs, whether it's public sector, whether we're in a bank, whether we're in energy, there will be AI agents that we are given and that we are then expected to use. But those AI agents are only as good as what we decide to do with them and how much we decide to take the information it gives us. Because again, they make mistakes, they hallucinate. They need constantly reviewed to make sure that they are going in the right direction. An AI tool, if left on, can go and do lots of different things, but it can go down the wrong road. You would be like, right, I'm going to go down this road and you go down that road. But with an AI agent unchecked can go down exactly the wrong road unless we have guardrails and we keep an eye on it. The other one, and again, not for everybody, but um, learn some basic programming tools. Python is a skill that is worth having for anybody right now. Python's pretty basic scripting tool, but it's definitely worth learning what Python is. You can learn it for free. There's plenty of courses on YouTube and various places to learn Python. Then there's R, there's SQL. None of these are new. These technologies are old as the hills. But it's funny that everybody thinks generative AI is this cutting edge technology, but the tools that are used, the programming skills, Python, R, and SQL, are 20 years old. But they're going to be more important as ever. And then also understanding a little bit more, like I said, about how it works. You know, NVIDIA is the processing chips that power AI. The data centers it's hosted on are by AWS, Azure, Google, all the biggest companies in the world. And again, it's just really important to have an understanding of it. And then just getting stuck in. Um, I've seen this. I've seen a lot of people in Glasgow do a really good job of this. But get involved in hackathons. JP Morgan do a lot at the moment, but get involved in a hackathon. Ask somebody to be your mentor. Go to as many meetups as you can in generative AI. Just get really, really um, hungry to learn. Don't wait for either your employer or your university to catch up, because by the time they catch up, it's going to be too late, because they're too slow. So as individuals, if we can take time to be able to learn new skills and be able to understand how this technology works, and then start to get really curious about using it, then the sky is the limit. There's a guy I know in Aberdeen called Gavin McClafferty. Gavin works for Subsea 7. Gavin, I think, has amassed over 115 certifications on LinkedIn on various generative AI tools. He is probably one of the most skilled generative AI people in the world, but he is not a generative AI or a data person. He is a offshore innovation manager. Yeah, he doesn't work in technology. He doesn't work in the IT team, but he is one of the most skilled people that I've came across, and it's only because he's really interested in the topic. And one of the things you'll realize about generative AI and about all these technologies, very little people know anything about it. So by going out and being curious and doing some of these courses and going to the events, reading the books, all of a sudden you can actually have a pretty baseline knowledge. I get told often that I'm an expert in generative AI. I am no expert um, by any stretch, but I'm curious about it and I am interested in it and I want to learn more about it. And there's sometimes I don't really get it. But, going back to Franklin's question about, hey, what can you do? I've obviously mentioned a few. One of the things that I really like and what I've done a lot of recently, which has really allowed me to learn, is if you have the $20 a month chat GPT, then you can build your own custom GPTs. And I've played a lot. I've built my own. I've built different things, and some have been great and some have been terrible. But I really got curious on that, and I really learned how to build them. Some of them take 5 minutes, some take an hour, and then I build it into my daily operating rhythm. And that's been a huge learning for me. I've not had to code it, I've not had to do anything, but I've really learned about what data it uses. I've learned about how it thinks, how it doesn't think, how I can actually use it. But you're just being curious has been a big thing for me. And then when the new releases come out, which they're coming out all the time, I stop and I listen. I also listen to a podcast called the AI Daily Brief, which is a 3-minute podcast every day. I listen to that in the morning. And again, it just allows me to understand what is going on in this space, because there's a new model happening every couple of weeks. it's going to keep changing. If we think about DeepSeek, which was a new tool that came out recently, nobody knew that was coming. And then it's here. And then the the markets lost $17 trillion in one day, and then they went back up the next day. Nobody knows what's going on at the moment, right? We are in a crazy, crazy time when nobody really knows where this technology is going and knows what the opportunity is. But going back to the point I made a few times, being curious and not waiting to learn about it and getting off the front foot and learning about the tools and then using the tools is a great place to start. Don't wait to have it perfect. Just go and learn and use it, um and you won't go far wrong. And then you might end up reskilling and going into a different job. You might go through a reskilling program. There's companies called Caps Lock and Data Literacy and Multiverse who are very specific retraining companies and can retrain you. But you know, I think before that happens, just getting curious. Um, None of these things really are going to cost much money to do either, and you can learn. I said the only money I've spent on generative AI is the £20 I spend a month on OpenAI. But even that, you can get a lot of it for free. That you can have the tool for free. I just like some of the other models that you can get. So I use it for that. But overall, this is not hugely expensive. You know, so like I've obviously I've talked for like half an hour, um, covered quite a lot of ground on how employers are seeing this, how it's impacting the skills, and then obviously a couple of thoughts about what you can do now. So happy to open this up to any questions or any discussion points.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rich. Yeah, over to us to ask question, please. And I like what you have said. There's one thing I will take home from this meeting today is to be curious, right? Is to be curious. So let's give room for everybody to ask questions. Please, let's ask questions. Okay, somebody is asking, are there links to get open AI training you could recommend?
Yeah, there is. I'll send a few links after. There's a company that's pretty good, um, that you can look at doing. Also, I've got to say, a lot of it is out there and free on YouTube. Again, I'll send through, um, checking out Ethan Mollick and a few others, but a lot of the training that I have done has been YouTube videos and just watching people do it. But I'll send some links after so you can see them.
Yeah, thank you. Then Blessing asks that I'm currently an administrative assistant. How can I upskill? I think you have answered that, right?
Yeah, I think an administrative assistant is one of the jobs, not now, but one of the jobs in 5 years that's going to decline, right? So, as I said, I would just be curious about look at like, so what parts of the job, what tasks could generative AI um, disrupt? And then what parts of the task can it not? So, for example, being able to review documents quickly and be able to pick things up and being able to draft them. Generative AI can do that, right? So I would start to play with that, test it, iterate it, see how it works, um, because then you can get ahead of it. Um, and then you may want to reskill your job and everything else, maybe. But right now, I would really look at how can I use generative AI on some of the tasks, right? So if you think about every job is just a selection of tasks. So pick one task which you don't like and see if generative AI can do it. So give you an example, not admin assistant, but if you give you an example, one of the jobs I hate doing is research. So my teams meet about 50 companies a week. And before that, before that meeting, we need to research that company. Yeah, I mentioned some of them: Subsea 7, KC Dowtag, Wood Group, Wood PLC. We work well, but before that, we kind of need. It's a lot of research. So we built a tool on ChatGPT, and it does the research for us. So every week, it looks at what meetings we have, and it will review all the news and review the reports, and it will give us some really good talking points that we can use in that meeting. Now, that doesn't replace the salesperson, but it replaces the job that a salesperson hates doing, which is prospecting and research. Salespeople hate that. I hate it. But what that tool does is it does the prospecting for us, it does the prep for us. So we have more time to do more meetings, we have more time to do the high value stuff. So it doesn't replace us, but it means that we can spend more time on high value tasks. And that's, I think, a really important way to think about it, about what tasks can it replace, not about replacing the job per se.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. So can we have three more questions? I'll be calling names. Miss, I think there's someone who knows who do it. Omo Wumi Ayalas, do you have any questions? Sorry for putting you on the spot. I know you work on AI a lot. Can we ask question?
Hi, okay,
Yeah.
good. Hello, hi everyone. Thanks, Rich, for this session. It's really interesting. I think one of the things that resonated with me is the curiosity. I tried to, because I'm building something, I tried to get myself familiar with Python and
Yeah.
coding. And to be honest, I got lost at some point. I have to go back again because it was technical. Very, I mean, at the beginning it was interesting, but afterwards it became very technical. So, but what I'm particularly interested in is the tensor flow. So,
Yeah.
if you can maybe like shed more light on how you got yourself familiar with that, it would really make it for me. Thanks.
Yeah. I ask, it's a great question. So I had exactly the same experience as you, Tolo, in terms of I went deep into these topics and I'm not a coder, right? And I'm not going to be a coder. But what I then found was that it was really interesting to then learn. So I learned, right, Python, how it basically works, and realized I don't want to code in Python, like similar to yourself, right? And then, TensorFlow, again, pretty basic tool to be able to build these applications. Again, I don't particularly use them a lot, but what I did learn was how does it all add together, right? So
Mm,
Python is obviously just the scripting language to create all of the millions of lines of code you need within
mhm,
generative AI. SQL just stores the data. TensorFlow creates the front end, right? It really creates the wrapper. Um, so, and then, the cloud platforms are obviously just hosting it, and then NVIDIA mostly are just processing it. So what I kind of learned was I didn't get very good at using any of those tools, and I don't really want to, right? But I'm sure you learn from playing with Python and some of those. You learn then how it works, right? And I think that's the bit. As long as you can understand how these tools work, and then you can have at least the knowledge of knowing where you could apply it or not apply it, then I think that is a great starting point, right? I wouldn't be too hard on that. I think that's um, a great starting point. You don't, to get ahead of the game here and to be able to upskill, you don't need to be able to code or be an AI engineer or be a data analyst, but that curiosity just to understand how it all works. But I wouldn't worry about being able to do any of it because I said I haven't, but but that understanding is just so key, um, because so many people just don't know any of it. So the fact you've went and done Python and tested a lot of most companies and most bosses don't have a clue about any of this stuff. So being able just to have that knowledge and that curiosity is a great place to start.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Rich,
Thank you.
Rich, your friend is here. Emeka is here. Emeka, do you have any questions? Show your camera so that Rich can see you.
Hey, Rich, how's it going?
Hello, mate. How are you? I see you all the time.
Same here.
Yeah. Do you have any question for Rich?
No, not at the moment. I'll still ask my question later. I'm interested in what Gig AI is doing, and the plans for 2025. I know there are quite some things in the pipeline, but if Rich is open to sharing, so that people in the community can also take part and plug in, so that would be great.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, a big year ahead. It's tough building a startup, a global startup. Tough doing it in Scotland, tough at the market. So, not. So my number one focus is just stay in business, right? So that's my number one goal of 2025 is to keep going. Um, and then after that, we're really going to lean in to helping companies solve these talent gaps that they have. So we're going to invest a lot more in our internal talent marketplace tool, which allows companies to be able to see what skills they have internally and what people that are interested in doing generative AI, what people are interested in upskilling and reskilling, and really allowing companies to have a better idea about what skills they have. Because most companies do not have a clue what skills that they have right now. And so we're going to really we grew that 400% last year. We're going to try and double that again this year. And then we're going to continue the open talent platform, which is, but really start to lean in more to the AI skills. So the number one skill hired in Gig AI last year was data analysis. So if you have a data analysis skill, those people are getting hired and they're getting hired in big money, not with a lot of experience. They're getting hired from, with the guy in Madagascar, people in Pakistan, India, London, Aberdeen, we're seeing people hired from all over the world for these short-term projects. So we're really just going to lean into that, right? And see where that goes. We don't have any grand plans to add new products or do anything crazy. What we're going to really try and do is stick to what we're good at and try and keep bringing large customers on board, because the more large customers we bring on board, the more opportunity that creates for the talent, whether they're in that organization or whether they're out that organization. So really, to answer that succinctly, we are going on a real sales campaign now. So we are going to try and raise more money. We're going to try and hire more salespeople, and we're really going to try and take the company now from, a really good foundation onto now competing with the big boys, the Upworks, the Fivers, that's the plan. Now, going to be tough. It's going to be tough because we need a lot of money and we need a lot of support, but we're going to try. We're going to try.
Awesome. That's a grandiose plan, and I look forward to that all coming together. So thank you for sharing.
No,
Yeah.
good one.
Thanks so much for that. And okay, someone raise up their hand. Anybody raise up your hand? And I think I saw one hand at yeah.
There was one, yeah.
Ooh, what was that?
No, I seen one. I just said I seen a hand go up, but come back
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, I think Anna is there. Anna, do you have any question? I think someone joined all the way from England. I think so. I think she'll be Anna.
I'm in Aberdeen. I'm not in England.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, do you have any
No,
question?
no question. I've been following, and I just want to say thank you for the session, though. I think there's a lot of information in it, and I'm sure a lot of us will all are kind of motivated by this as well. I personally, I've been working on some startups for a while now, but just like when you said your goal is to get better this year, so I kind of just said, yes, Hannah, you need to do better. I'm just motivated, and I know that yes, I agree that the gap is there, and machine learning it is, and AI, and the beautiful thing is that it's actually easy to learn on your own.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of tools that you can learn without having to really pay money to anyone. But then again, meetings like this also help to encourage us more and give the push that we need. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Can we have two more questions so that I can allow my friend to go? Any questions? Any question? Because a lot of people came here. I think maybe your presentation had make them to answer their question. Maybe you did something with who knows all that. So yeah, for me, just thinking. So there's something I pick up from your conversation with Emeka. Is saying that most of the top jobs that are being from advertised by all these big companies are data analysis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing now. So data analysis now. So so you've said that people are just have to, and strangely, 2 weeks ago on the Creed WhatsApp group, I asked people how many people know how to use to analyze data Excel. I think I only have maybe a small percentage. So I think where to go is actually to go back to data itself, how to just analyze data. But then my own personal cry is that if people are going to self-skill in this data and AI stuff, they will need a project to work on, because you guys will always ask for experience, right? Where will they, if like a graduate who is still looking for a job, right? Where will that graduate get project to work on so that they can build themselves? So I
Yeah.
think before you answer the question, two people okay,
Yeah,
everyone wants to ask.
but
Okay.
let me just briefly go on it again, because I think it is a good question. So I think one of the things, the most obvious one is the hackathons that I mentioned. So being able to go to those hackathons and be part of a small team solving a problem and then communicating it, right? So putting that on your CV, putting that on LinkedIn, posting about it, right? Being very, very, a lot of, self-promotion, right? Being able to update constantly anything you're working on. And also just doing your own projects. Like I was saying, being curious around what tasks. So, I have 4 custom GPTs I've built that I use, and I share them with people, and I put them onto LinkedIn, and I share how they work. And I think that's a great project in itself. You can go and build your own custom, and then if you're really, really curious, you can go on. There's a website called agent.ai. It was set up by the co-founder of HubSpot, and you can go on and build your own agent for free, and then people will use it, and that's quite cool as well. It's just new, but yeah, there's so many things you can do for free to go and get stuck in.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah. So I think someone wants to ask a question. I think who is okay, Olumaya will go first, then Regina will go. So which time you want to go, Rich? You want to go by 5?
You're not all good, all good.
Okay, yeah. So Olumaya, so over to you.
Yeah,
Your question.
mine was really a comment. Thank you for staying on this last slide and talking about using platforms like Cargo and GitHub. Um, the work you've done, whether it seems good to you or not, people will find you through these links because
Yeah.
they search and that's what they find. If I need help on a particular area of code, it takes me to Medium and these open source platforms. So they are really good. And the second thing I wanted to say is about coding in Python. I think you only need the basics, really basics,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
ChatGPT writes code for me. And if I get an error, I just write, this is the error, fix it. And it does. So you don't need to really you need to understand the basics of how Python works to correct code. But I'm just adding that what you said is really spot on. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks,
great
thanks.
point.
Then Regina, I think I saw Regina's hand. Regina,
Yes, yeah, I think Mayo has said what I had wanted to say. It was more of like just thanking Rich for this comprehensive, presentation. And like just to admonish us, because like from my background I can really understand everything that he was saying, and bringing things to its barest minimum. Because one thing I realized is mostly when we tell people about AI, they think, oh, you have to really know all the details, the hardcore bits. But trust me, where the AI space is going to, it's more of okay just having the knowledge and knowing the little things that bring everything together. So I just wanted to add up to that. Thank you so much for sharing, Rich.
No, no problem. One last thing. Um, so this is a book I love a book, right? But I don't know if you see it. It's called Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick. You buy one book, that's the book, right? So this is all about, it's just out recently. It's all about, it explains how all of this works. It explains, it's the best book on AI. And then if you follow him on LinkedIn and you read some of his papers, this is a guy I follow. Again, just to learn it from a layman's perspective and to understand where it's going. Again, that would be this the biggest thing that I've done is read that book and read his papers.
yeah. Thank you thank you so much. So, Adia, honestly, I think you have fired people up tonight. The last lady that's talked, she actually had a PhD in AI. So she had a PhD in AI at Robert Gordon University. So I'm happy that we have a lot of people who knows this stuff. So I think so. I'm just any question. Honestly, I've learned a lot. So any question, with okay, one hard question, but I don't know. He said okay, the title of the book is Co-Intelligence. So I think I'll make your post. I'll send you your post. Maybe let me do that now. But he said, where are these hackathons held or even advertised? I think I'm guilty about that, right? But I think we have hackathons in Aberdeen. I think so. But I think because Rich is based in Glasgow, will you guys want to travel from Aberdeen to Glasgow? I don't think so. Or
We're
maybe
going to do one in Aberdeen soon.
oh, fantastic. Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
We're just bringing together Sword Group, KC Dowtag, Subsea Seven, Wood Group, Wood Mackenzie, and a few others. So we're gonna try and do that at some point in April or May, and we're going to try and bring together the biggest employers in Aberdeen, and we're going to really get everybody in a room and really talk about the topic of AI, upskilling, reskilling. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, thanks. So Kisley, you've asked and you have got that. So yeah, so I think so okay, somebody raise a hand. Anybody? Omawumi, yeah, Omawumi. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sean, and thank you, Rich. Thank you for this very insightful um presentation. It's quite funny because I was about writing about the World Economic Forum. I read the report yesterday, so I was going to write on LinkedIn today, only for me to see you presenting on it. It means that really that's where the world is really moving on to. Thank you very much. I was going to ask, I had raised up my hand earlier. I was going to ask where the hackathons were going to be held. And then you've answered. Also, Shion, you said there are hackathons held in Aberdeen. Please share them when they come up,
Yeah, I
please.
will. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I
Thank you.
will. Rich will get back to me. There's a group called Code the City. Code the City do run, I think maybe is it a carton now or
Okay,
maybe
so let's see your WhatsApp there.
oh yeah, so I would whenever it's coming, Rich is come to Aberdeen, will let me know. So I'll reach out to you
Okay
guys.
then.
It's
Thank
actually for
you.
the whole city. Actually, the
Thank
time Rich came to Aberdeen, you guys were not there at that time. So I think
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
Uh,
I think any more question? So, Rich, thanks for this.
No problem.
Okay, Grace is asking. Okay, okay, let's ask a quick. Okay,
Okay, I
Emeka,
just want to confirm. Is this recorded?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So, Emeka, what's your question? Emeka, but you are in Glasgow, right? You are in Glasgow. You can go and meet Rich in Glasgow. I want you to.
No, definitely. I'm going to meet Rich. We even saw at Unfiltered. I didn't know he was working from the Barclays Eagle Labs office. So definitely we'll be linking up. But my question to Rich, which obviously I would like other people to be a part of, is what is, because I see when it comes to automation, it's not really big in this part of the world. We don't have a lot of businesses or started really pushing the whole automation part of business. And I'm talking about workflows. So
Yeah.
using AI to automate workflows, helping businesses to streamline processes and be more efficient. I don't know if that's an area Gig AI is looking into so that you can start hiring or helping organizations in terms of getting talent that can help them streamline processes. I don't know if that is something in the picture.
It is. We're very much driven by demand, and at this point, most companies are not there yet, right? So you're totally right what you say. Um, and I think that's where there's a lot of hope for the agentic or AI agents that's going to then be able to automate a lot of workflows. But one of the things that, and we've had this at the last Transform meetup, most companies are starting using these tools to automate very basic things. It's really basic. Like most of the insurance and banking ones are doing it just to write copy, just to write an email, right? It's pretty basic. It's still a workflow, but it's basic. So right now, most companies are not there yet in the demand. They're just trying to understand what is going on and how they can use it to solve a very minimal problem. I I I think that is where it goes next. I think the use of AI agents within a workflow to be able to do the work without a human touching it, that's the next step. That's where it's going next.
Awesome. Awesome.
And it's
Thank
already there, right? OpenAI have it, right? They've got a tool that it can go on and it can use your browser and go on and use your CRM. It can write your email for you. It's scary. I don't think it's very good,
you. Operator,
but it
yes.
works, right?
It does.
And
It does work.
that's where it goes next.
Yeah, it does work. We already, like you said, we already have a lot of agentic agents. Using N88 and N8N and using make.com to do a lot of work for people. To reduce time. So you're correct. We're getting there. I'm hoping that Scottish businesses can really embrace it quickly, so that the next phase, or should I say, the next generation of um, skilled workers will now be those that really know how to use AI tools and automate. They'll be just beyond the basic admin stuff. Yeah. So that's the
Yeah,
expectation.
yeah. So, thank you very much. So, but before you say your last word, Rich, I want everybody to thank Rich through the on chat. Rich, you are going to say your last words. You are going to share what you expect people to do from this meeting. So before Rich says last word, can we, I don't want emoji. Let's type, what do you learn from this event? So let's type on in the chat box, please, so that to show whether you guys really listening. So chat, what do you learn from it? I learned to be very curious. I learned that you can learn on your own. So what do you learn? What do you learn from this event? So let's give just 2 minutes. What do you learn? Stick. Okay, wow, really? Okay, go for it. Really. So let's see. We have some people on this call. I need the basic. Wow, fantastic. You can learn on your own. Fantastic. Let's see. Promote on open platform. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Emeka, I've not seen your own, right? I learned to keep inspiring and push myself, go forward. Okay. Yeah. Let's keep it going to start AI learning now and not wait further, right? Let's keep going. It pays to be curious, okay? Thank you, Rich. Motivated to push forward with data science. Very insightful. Yeah, yeah. Acquiring these skills. Yeah. So I'll be more curious and learn the basics of R. Embrace the change. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. Thank you very much. So, Rich, what's your last word? And why am I saying last words? You know, I'm from Nigeria, right? So there's something that I normally go with. When the speaker have said something from beginning, I'm just waiting for what's the last word from that speaker. And the last word sometimes is like an action plan. So should in case that you meet our creed members again, what do you want them to do? What's your last word? All of that.
Of two. So I think first of all, again, I think what you guys are doing is really inspiring to have 35 plus people come on to a call on a Saturday evening and then everybody to put their key learns. Like that's not normal. And I mean that in the best possible sense. So again, I'm just hugely inspired by what you guys are doing because most people don't take the time, especially at the weekend, to do stuff. So again, great, just amazing what you guys are doing. And then like my last point would be just like be curious. You do not need to be an expert Python coder. You don't need to know, but get curious. Pick one task in your week and look about how you can use AI on that task. That would be my one piece of advice, and then see where it goes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Honestly, I wish I I'll just give you a hug. Thank you so much. So on behalf of the Creed team in our church, we just want to thank you. And I think I'm guessing that we are going to in the coming days, we're going to see our people, creating a lot of stuff and putting on LinkedIn and also able to rescue themselves. Thank you so much, and thanks for the time, everybody. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking your Saturday, 1 hour Saturday. I just felt that it's something that we need to reskill ourselves as the world is moving fast. I reached. Do you saw what Y Combinator did online? Do you know what they did online? They gathered all of them, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, all of them. They want to have AI startup schools in May. In June, they want to gather 2,000 students to talk to them to be, I think it's because what DeepSeek have done. So the race is actually on now.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So thank everybody. Thank
Thank you.
everybody. Yeah, thanks.
Have a
Yeah.
good night. Thank you guys. Lovely meet
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you.